Interesting time to be a Falcon fan.
Very interesting
What's
time. What's good? What's good, Atlanta Falcon fans, man? Y'all come on in. Come on in and enjoy the party, man. We finna have some fun with this one, man.
Yes,
Coming off a
sir.
big win against the Minnesota Vikings. And we beat them up a little bit, man, because they've been signing people left and right today. Even signed former Falcon Desmond Ritter, believe it or not.
Yeah,
But
right.
it happens. But hey, we got a special guest, man. Y'all know him, man. I ain't got to introduce him, man. Bo Squid Billy Morgan, man. Big supporter of the show, man. 92.9 the game. And he gonna stop in and talk Falcon footballers for a little while. But we gonna let him introduce himself. Bo, if you would, and after he does that, Chris, you know what to do, man.
Yeah, guys. I mean, it's not much of an introduction. I think you kind of nailed it. 92.9 the game. I do pregame for the Atlanta Falcons. Also produce the executive producer of the broadcast, and as you guys know, I host the morning shift with my friends Mike Johnson and Allie Mack and Dylan Dylon Matthews as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, look, that's it, man. You guys know it. We're full. We're full go in the season. We're 2 weeks in,
Oh,
coming
yeah.
up
Right.
on our second division rival in what 3 weeks time
Absolutely.
and just ready to go. Life's busy, man. It was a long weekend, all nighter on Sunday to roll in there Monday morning and do our show. But it was a good way to do a show coming off a win like that.
Definitely,
Facts,
man.
facts, facts.
Getting that victory Monday in, man. As you see, man, I'm gonna have to start meeting up with this guy for a drink or just something with some W sauce on it or something because Squid, man, is just might as well say a friend of the show, man, for sure. Like multiple times being on the show, multiple times, meeting him, especially at training camp. What I'm saying, like about 3-4 times. So yeah, man, welcome to the show as well. And welcome all the Falcon fans who are coming in as well. Welcome everybody. We're going to get into this preview. But before we do, we got to talk about what happened, I'm saying, against the Vikings just a little bit, just a tad bit. I definitely have a question for you, Squid, and just watching the game, seeing how everything was unfolding. Like, what are, let's say, give me two things that just stood out the most. I mean, obviously, I probably know where you're going to go with some of it, but just in your own words, like what are some things that just stood out to you in the game?
Well, look, positives were, I'll start with offense because that's where we started. They take the ball. I was a little surprised on the road that they took the ball, but then the more you think about it, I've been in that building a lot, and that is one of the most hostile environments. It's a good hostile, right? Like
Right,
it's
right.
not a Philly hostile where they're throwing beer on you and stuff, but they take it seriously. And those people treat it. I said it on the pregame that they're cheering like it counts for them if they get in Valhalla, and it's kind of a
Yeah,
Vikings reference, right? And it's kind of, but that's how they do it. They're legit. They're legit fans, and you get a chance to quieten in that place right off the bat. That's what you want to do, and I believe that's why they took the ball, but they started running immediately. I said all week last week. We talked about it. And everybody was worried about the running game after the Tampa game. Well, one thing I think we saw last night, Tampa's pretty freaking good at run defense. They're suspect in the passing defense, but they can stop the run. A lot of it has to do with not only do they have that space eater, but they also have those edge guys that can move. But the way we came out, and even with the additions of Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen in
Allen,
Minnesota, we imposed our will on them up front in the run game.
we
And so
did.
that really stood out to me. Obviously, a negative standout on offense is when you get in the red zone, you're just making too many little miscues. Penalties setting you back. There's a multitude of things with I thought and really I talked to Dave Archer and I we talk a lot about these games during and after and before, and it seemed like a little bit of the route running was a little odd as far as some maybe timing of it and when guys came out of their breaks or if they ran good routes to begin with, but you just got to finish down there. But right off the bat, you test your new kicker, and that was really good to see him come through.
5 times.
And yeah, right. And every time it seemed like it got further and further back. It was almost like we were doing a kicking tryout. It almost.
It did.
I mean,
It did.
You know,
It's
it
just
was.
funny. It's funny how things just work out. How the football guys just play everything out, right?
It really is. And then I'll say this. I really, really was impressed with our defense, and I've been really impressed mainly with the run defense the first 2 weeks, and that's something that everyone, I think, fans, analysts, everyone questioned kind of how the defensive line was built to stop the run game. Not to mention, you play a style with Ulbrich where you want to attack and you want to get upfield. When you play that style, you'll leave gaps. You're open to being gashed, and I think they've done a pretty good job in the run game. I look at the first week and you allowed 101 yards, but 39 of that was Baker Mayfield scrambling. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yes, it counts against rushing, and yes, it goes in. But to me, I look at it as something I'm going to separate because when they tried to run the football against you, you played well. Last week or Sunday against Minnesota, however, they had 78 yards, and that's how they beat Chicago. The whole J.J. McCarthy thing is one thing. They beat Chicago because Jordan Mason in that fourth quarter started rolling off 8 yards a pop. He had, I wrote it down, I think he had 14 yards in the first half of that game against Chicago. He had 4 carries for 14 yards. He had 54 in the second half. So in that game, that's how they won that game. And it's kind of interesting.
But that's where they brought Jordan Mason in. Because what he did in San Francisco, and he was basically took over for Christian McCaffrey, being the guy that's going to be like that every down back for them then. And they seen that, and they brought him up to Minnesota, and they was going to try to use that same method against us, but it wasn't going for it. Jeff Ulbrich and that defense, Nate Ollie and that defense was not going for it. So, hey, man.
That's a good name. Hey, that's a good name. Nate Ollie. That's
a
name. That's a name that we haven't heard the first 2 weeks, and it's unfortunate. And I'm guilty of it too. Not mentioning Nate Ollie and the work it's already showed up with what he's done defensive line. And there were a lot of guys excited, including myself, about him when we went through his resume. And look, you don't know every coach in the league, guys. You know that. But when you go through some of these guys and you saw the stuff on Nate Ollie, I'm so glad you brought that name up because that's a guy that needs to. Now I'm going to have to take a note and put it down for me to talk about it tomorrow morning.
Oh, yeah.
And in the pregame, because that's a name we got to remember. Nate Ollie is a great call.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely,
Nate,
absolutely.
My thing is what was for Nate, what made me so excited, it was just like you said, his resume. Every team that he's played for, including coached for, including like the Eagles, the Colts, the Texans, like they've all made strides on that line with that pass rush. So when we got him to come to ATL, I was so excited. And that's one guy that he teaches violence. He lets the guys be themselves. And he teaches them the right way about going to get after the quarterback. And back with the Colts, remember, they did it by committee that year with them then. And what are we doing now? So I'm excited about Nate Ollie, and I'm glad that he's on this Falcons team for sure, on that defensive line.
Absolutely, and we knew that he would bring that much needed energy to this defense, as y'all talked about with the Colts. He had that pass rush by committee. I think he's going to do the same with Atlanta, and I think Ulbrich is going to allow him to do that. But I think, and I'm gonna put it in my X factor, and I already talked about it a little bit. I think this front seven is gonna be key for the Falcons this game, mainly because the Carolina Panthers are down 2 offensive linemen. So I think we can have a very productive game again as far as sacks this game. So we'll see how it go, man. But yeah, Nate Ollie, Jeff Ulbrich, they just bring needed energy, and then you have young talent that you can mold into what you want and how you want to use them. And the way they rotated out this game was much better than week 1. So they're getting their feet under them. So we'll see how that goes.
All right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Notice, I don't know if you guys have noticed. I noticed it a couple of times in the first game. Noticed it a few more times in this game. They have had times where Floyd, Jalen, and Pierce are all on the field, and Jalen has been. I saw him at kind of more of a middle backer. I've also seen him basically lining up and coming up, right up the gut under the A gap. So and even over the B gap. So they're rotating guys in and out, and it's constant. I'm gonna tell you guys, 11 and 17 look a hell of a lot alike with these numbers that we've got to deal with.
They do.
Yeah, it's looking like if you see red gloves, it's Ebiketie, and white gloves are Jalen. That's the way it was the last 2 weeks. So that's my identifier right now when me and Wes are trying to figure out who these guys are.
Yeah, man. That's a good thing. Again, a good problem to have. And I'm not gonna lie to you. Just before we wrap up this week two performance, just shout out to those rookies, man. All four of them being able to make plays, getting their first sacks, first interceptions. My thing is, we knew that these guys, all four of them, were going to be ballers, and I'm happy that the game doesn't seem too fast for them necessarily already. Everybody, but that comes with coaching as well. So
Absolutely.
that's why I said on Sunday, and I'm saying again now, game ball to Jeff Ulbrich for how he's come in and have these guys buy into his system immediately. Us having some of these guys and putting them in the right position. What you got, Squid?
Did you guys? There was a quote from Jesse Bates that our friend at the Athletic, Josh Kendall, had, and I'll probably butcher it, but I can pull it up real quick because I had it written down on my phone. But he basically made the point that coming in here with Ulbrich and having him being a guy that played in the league, he has them under a system that is set for not trying to do 30 coverages. He says, we have an identity now. We have a DC that's super detailed. He knows exactly what he wants to run, and we're not trying to run 20 coverages. We are doing what we're doing, and we're going to continue to get better at that. You've got a guy who has played in this league that's making these calls. It's a little different playing for a guy like that. Now,
that's absolutely correct. Absolutely.
I don't think that's necessarily a shot at Jimmy Lake. So a lot of people would. I
No,
know
it's not.
Probably not
It's
us.
Not necessary.
It's not.
But it rings different, and we always think all simple. The guys don't need to be thinking on the field other than identifying what their assignment is, right? Or hearing their assignment and saying, okay, and knowing what they're doing. That's all they need to do. They don't need to be thinking about 30 different things. Just go play the game.
That's it. And if they can play the game, they can play the game. That's just flat out simple. And these guys, I'm thinking that they can definitely play the game.
And Jeff Ulbrich played on some great coaches in San Francisco, man. Y'all got to remember when he played in San Francisco, to me, they still had one of the better teams in the league. So he learned a lot under guys like Mike Holmgren and Steve Mariucci, and all these guys, that have coached and now analysts. So he analyzed the game totally different from somebody that didn't play the game. And when you play the game, you're going to see the game different. And I told y'all coming into the season, I felt like adding him as the defensive coordinator helped the weakest position that we had last year, and that was linebacker. So you're going to see a lot of aggressiveness from these linebackers. Like Squid said, when you talk about Ebiketie and Jalen Walker and James Pierce on the field at the same time, it's not a surprise. Zach Harrison, Leonard Floyd, you're going to see a lot of moving with these guys. And when you can at least rush three of those guys, I think somebody's going to get home. And they showed you last week that they can collapse the pocket in the middle. We were mad about Grady, but they showed you why they made the move, because they got younger in the position and they got faster and stronger. So, I mean, hey, it was the right move.
Yeah, man. I enjoy it, man. Let's get into this preview.
Facts.
Ooh. Falcons defense versus the Panthers offense. And like Smitty, you already said that about they're going to have two of their offensive linemen out for the year. They're already on IR. And I believe that's Robert Hunt and Austin Colbert. So my thing is automatically we got to get I would do similar to what we did against J.J. McCarthy. If I'm doing it, I'm just adding maybe a tweak or two. And I'm rolling out a similar game plan against Bryce Young, another young quarterback. This team is struggling. His offensive line is fading. Why not just attack right where they're weak at, right up that offensive line? I feel like we can really take advantage of that. What you guys say?
And that sounds easy, Chris, but when you look at what Bryce Young has done against the Falcons the last 3 games, I don't think you can game plan him just like that. But I feel like you can do something similar.
That's why I said
because you got to remember the last game of the year, a game that we should not have lost, but he ended up with 251 yards, 3 touchdowns, and ran for 2 more. So a 5 touchdown game got to stand in the back of your mind on how to attack this guy.
But
now,
Smitty,
one thing that But one thing that I
Smith,
do like,
okay, go
hold
ahead.
on, one thing that I do like, that they have faster linebackers that can keep him under control, keep him from scrambling, and we have a guy that can set the edge. So you keep him in the pocket and force him to throw the ball, and you keep pressure on him. I think you could end up with a game like next week, but you got the game plan just a little bit different because he has more experience than JJ McCarthy.
He definitely has more experience than J.J. McCarthy. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Squid, you can chime in on this too. Last year, facing Bryce Young, we did not have this. We had similar talent, but we did not have the talent that we do now, and we do not have the defensive line coach that we do now, the defensive coordinator we do now. Everybody being able to work as a cohesive unit on that defensive coaching staff, including Jerry Gray, to go against Bryce Young this year. I feel like it's a different defense. I feel like he's going to see different things. And again, like you said, it's still not going to be easy divisional matchup. This is the NFL. They
Absolutely.
have jobs to do as well. But my goodness, guys, after the first two games and with this team coming in limping, that's blood in the water. We got to be the shark this game and go ahead and make these guys 0-3 because we need to get division wins now, and we got to stay current in the conference.
Yeah, I think there's lots of good points all around. I'll start with their offensive line. Yeah, we need to attack them, and we need to. But I think that's Ulbrich style. Look, you go back to Tampa game, he attacked Tampa too. That's part of they're wanting to create constant pressure, and that's the first thing. The second thing is, I would go ahead and say though that the guys that are going to rotate in, most likely for Corbett and Hunt is Cade Mays, who has played. I mean, he started out. He was kind of like a Newsel type for them last year. I'm not saying he was. I don't know if he how well he played the entire time, but he played a little bit for them last year, and I haven't really dove deep into all of his stats and how much he started. But he's a fourth-year player that has started for them. And then you look at, Zavala, who I believe might fill in for Hunt, and he's obviously played as well too. So look, but I still think that you can get after the offensive line. They've tried to upgrade this offensive line, but that's one thing. Other thing I would say is Bryce Young's played 3 games against the Falcons. He didn't play the first game that we played them last year in Carolina.
That was Andy Dalton. Right.
Yeah, that was in the middle of his benching, but he did have. But his career numbers are, he's completed 65% of his passes against us for around 560-something yards, 4 touchdowns, couple picks. As we know, both of those picks came in the first game of his career, again, and Jesse Bates had them. But you go look at the very last game of the year, and it was different defense or different players, just a different attitude. He had 251 yards through the air last year, and I'm not worried. I'm not worried about Bryce Young is going to move, but I'm not overly worried about him running. Right? Again, there's more speed on this defense. That was the thing. Is this defense last year? The version of it last year had Jaden Daniels kind of frustrated, really, at the end of that first half. And the big adjustment by the great Cliff Kingsbury, and I use that kind of sarcastically, was Jaden run left, Jaden run right, Jaden run up the center, Jaden, if they come after you, run. And Jaden Daniels started lighting the team up. But you've vastly improved your defensive speed at the second level. And I count Jalen Walker in that as well a little bit. But Devon Diablo,
Yes,
I was looking at it earlier, guys.
Man,
this team in the past has at times we've been kind of we've been taken to the woodshed by tight ends, and Cade Otton is one of the better tight ends in the league, and I think T.J. Hawkinson is as well. And through 2 games, you've given up 1 catch to the tight end position through 2 games, and that I think it was like 12 yards, and that was Hawkinson, by the way. So
that was in the last game.
So you've done a pretty good job in that aspect. So, look, it's good. I would expect them to try to run with Chuba Hubbard. They ran to the tune of 155 yards in Mercedes-Benz week 18. Yeah. But I mean, we're different, and just like they're different now, and they're different in ways where they're walking in here with one of the best defensive tackles in the league. And I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit because we're not on offense yet versus their defense. I'm going to tell you something, guys. If there's anybody that gives Chris Lindstrom as much trouble as he can
Derek
handle,
Brown.
it's Derek
Yeah,
Brown.
Brown.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
and they got Ashawn Robinson as well, and Bobby Brown the third. So their defensive front, I think there's something like they have 8 new starters on defense out of 11.
I think it is 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think
But
Tershawn Wharton might be out, but I'm not sure about that yet. I'm pretty sure he might be
that
out.
would be a big loss because he's one of their better rotational players. But Shaka, thank you for the donation, my brother.
Thank you, brother.
He said we got different Jim and Joes this year, Smitty. Attack Bryce all day long. Absolutely agree with that. Have to.
Attack short man, as they used to say on Hey Arnold.
Oh, he done. Hey, I told you, Chris. He done graduated from the car seat. He can walk now, so he good.
That's why I say short man. He can be short man, but seriously, man. All jokes aside, it's not that that I'm trying to say that this team cannot run the ball, cannot do anything. Yeah, they've been able to have our number for the most part, but they're going to try to rely on Chuba Hubbard. I believe it. But if the Falcons can just make them one dimensional, I believe, man, we're going to start teeing off on those guys. We can stop the run early, penetrate their O-line with the gaps, use those linebackers, fill the sidelines. Man, I'm just saying, like, guys, these different stunts and blitzes that I'm seeing from Jeff Ulbrich already, so maybe I'm just being a homer, and if I am, then so be it, but I haven't seen a defense be this good in starting off the season for the Atlanta Falcons in quite some time. So I am feeling like the culture is changing. I am feeling like, we do have players who take that logo with pride and go out there and try to be exactly what we want to be, the bullies. We've been getting bullied for years, and guys, I'm just feeling like with this defensive staff and these defensive players, I think we can go attack these guys heavy and often.
Well, look, I think it's good to be excited. I mean, why can't we be excited about what we've seen so far? I think that's. I was very frustrated after week 1 when so many people were complaining about what they felt was a perceived lack of pass rush. I said, hell, we had a pass rush. We didn't get home. We got home. We didn't finish. Let me rephrase it. We affected the quarterback. It just so happened we were playing one of the better quarterbacks in the league, especially at eluding defenders. That said, there's also nothing wrong with being excited and tempered and kind of tempering a little bit with the fact that, hey, guess what? They know you as well as anybody because they are a division rival. You know what I'm saying? And so that's something to absolutely take into consideration. But you can say we're different, and I think we are. AJ Terrell's status is kind of a little bit unknown right now, but
right.
Justin Jefferson was still on the field last week, guys. So was Adam Thielen. So and Jalen Naylor's not a slouch either. So, but that said, Ted McMillan has got 11 catches, 168 yards through 2 games, including 6 for 100 last week.
Yep.
They were also down 27-9 at home. So they're 0-2. They want to get a home win. Being excited is one thing. That's great. But you're not playing Akron. And I think you can be excited and understand you're not playing Akron at the same time. So it all are good emotions and feelings. I'm both. I'm excited, and I'll get nervous as game time starts because we've all been there, right?
Yeah.
And we know it's the NFL. So
would you consider, like, okay, now I consider them like bait in the water. You smell blood in the water. Go ahead and kick this team while we're down. That's something that the Atlanta Falcons have had so much trouble with. Just in the last 7 seasons, when we just look at the whole totality of it all and the history of it all. I feel like that now, some people would call this a trap game because they're 0-2, they're hungry. And, of course, they've had our number to a degree. But, guys, we can start kind of like rewriting, the narrative for Atlanta if we can go in there and stomp this team while they're down. I ain't saying it's going to be 22-6. I'm not. But I'm still saying, like, as far as since we're still on defense, guys like Billy Bowman, guys like Xavier Watts, all the draft picks, all these guys are buying in, and you can see it early. And as long as Jeff Ulbrich is dialing up the right thing, the right calls, I believe these guys are going to be in the right positions. They're going to make it tough on Bryce. I mean, Bryce is still going to be a good quarterback, and he's still going to make his plays. He's going to get some plays off that you be like, man, we almost had him. But if we just stay consistent, I mean, nobody knew we was going to have 6 sacks against JJ. But as long I feel like we don't have to have 6 against Bryce, but if we can still just get the pressure, it's not just about the pressure. I want to get home. I think if we can get home against Bryce Young, similar to how we did against JJ, it's going to be a long day in Carolina and Bank of America Stadium, a stadium that we haven't won at that often as well, too. So just changing the entire narratives, I think we have the capability to do that now with these new Jims and Joes, like Shaka was saying.
Yeah, and I think we talk about the front seven, but I think we not knowing what's going on. AJ Terrell, I think he's going to play, but he could be limited with his snaps because of a hamstring injury. So this is going to be why I said, one of my keys to victory and my X factor is probably going to be that front seven. I think it's going to make Jesse Bates' job just a little bit harder because he helps over the top with AJ. I think it makes Xavier Watts' job just a tad bit harder because he's one of the guys that he also he pretty big against the run. So you're going to take that away from the two safety by having to help AJ over the top. So I think these DBs and this front seven, they're going to have a task. And just like he said with Ted McMillan already having 168 yards in 2 games, it lets me know that he has confidence in that kid. So he's a big receiver, and AJ is our big body receiver cornerback. So whomever has him this game is probably going to be Mike Hughes because he has the speed. But I just can't wait to see what Jerry Gray and Jeff Ulbrich come up with to slow down that rookie. Because Xavier Legette was drafted last year, but I think Ted McMillan has come in and taken over as the number 1 guy.
Yeah, that's their Drake London
pretty much.
Yeah, I tell you what, Xavier Legette has been he's been really somewhat disappointing so far in his career, and he's a great character, but disappointing. I hear you, and I think Bryce is at this point a better quarterback than JJ McCarthy clearly, and
yes,
but look, yeah, you can speed his clock up, but if you can slow the run game down. And that's where it starts. You're not going to generate a pass rush if you can't stop the run, because there's it. You 3rd and 2, 2nd and 4. I mean, there's just not a lot of opportunities. So it starts there. I believe CJ, if AJ is out this week, which we'll find out more tomorrow, that Wednesday press conference, you kind of find out, and then for sure on Friday if he doesn't practice, you'll kind of know. But CJ Henderson will probably be a standard elevation. Depending on how bad they think it is. They just signed Keith Taylor, who's a guy that's been in the league for a little bit, to the practice squad. And depending on where they have to go with CJ Henderson, AJ Terrell, how long they think he'll be out, you can monitor it by that. But I think Natron Brooks is a guy that can step in. D. Alford obviously did last week. And if you guys would note it, or if you guys probably noticed it already with the Jamal Agnew out and D. Alford returning punts, once D. Alford went to that other outside corner role, Natron Brooks and Nathan Carter started doing more return stuff. And I think Brooks was the one that was back there on punts on that point. So look, there's a lot. Everything affects something, especially with the special teams. But that said, you're getting pressure. They saw. I didn't think that they necessarily heated JJ up with extra blitzes any more than they did against Baker. I just think you got better from week 1 to week 2. I also think you were able to take advantage once Juergens came in at center in place of I think it's Ryan Kelly, center there.
Ryan Kelly.
You were able to get some of that in the middle, the interior weekend. And look, Justin School, he's he's played in the league for a while, but he's not Christian Darrisaw, and they knew that, and that's why Jalen Walker was able to get around on him. I mean, you go back and Pierce and Dorless came in the middle. Peerless came in on the stunt. So there's lots of the stunts are where they're really kind of getting in, but the speed is helping. And you look at Floyd, Pierce, and Jalen Walker; they all have speed. Ebiketie is a little bit of a tweener in that aspect, but he's still got enough. And excuse me, look, he made some good plays last week too. Don't forget, and some of those were in the running game. So it's exciting to look at, but I do think they're going to run the football. That's why they think they're going to slow down a good pass rush, run the football, and kind of play a little ball control. But you can run on this team too. Derek Brown is their X factor inside, but if you can kind of pin the guys like Brown and Brown and Bobby Brown III, and even Ashawn Robinson, kind of pin them inside and get Bijan out on the perimeter. He ran for 170 yards in December or in January against these guys. So
yep.
Right.
Yep. So with that being said, let's switch it up a little bit. Let's switch it the other way. Let's talk about the Falcons offense against the Panthers defense. Now, the way the offense looked last week, a lot of people were mad because, we were talking about not being able to, throw the football. They ran the ball so well that they didn't have to pass as much, and I think that helps Michael Penix a whole lot. Now, what I would like to see, the way we ran the ball last week, 200 yards between Tyler and Bijan, I feel like they could have set up more play action. Now, hopefully I see more of that this week, and that really depends on, how they run the football. But you got to think, too, we're going up against a much better team on defense. You talk about Derek Brown. You talk about J.C. Horn. You talk about who else they added another defensive end. I can't think of his name.
I know they got Morningwig too.
Trevon Moorhead, the safety, absolutely. So they have more weapons on defense. But my bad. Go ahead, Squib.
Well, they got some of the guys they look like they kind of run in 3-4, but they got Prince Omanamilan from Mississippi and Florida. Right. They've got DJ Wanham. You guys, Nick Scorton is the guy from A&M who I'm really high on.
That's what I was thinking about. Yeah. So
they have added guy. I think Scorton is the player. Now I don't know what he's done so far. Wednesday is tape day for us in the morning. Me and Mike Johnson, we watch the all 22 of the opposing team Wednesday and Thursday. So I want to see what they're doing with him. But dude, you're right. They have added some defensive players. It's a really good point. And they're going to try to come after you. Their defense though is, through a couple of games they've struggled.
Right. But my thing is with the play action thing, when you think about it, the Falcons are not running a lot of it. They're really running a lot of pistol. Just about everything that they're running is out of pistol, but pistol has been working for the Falcons as well. Running game, some pass game. I think they ran maybe like 5 or 6 like play action passes, a couple of plays center. I'm thinking that they're just comfortable with running things out of pistol because working.
They ran, I actually had the number. They ran 7 of, I think, 23 pass plays out of pistol. So about a third, right?
Yeah.
They can run play action out of the pistol. The pistol is something that it's gotten, I don't know. I think it's because it feels very college-y, the pistol does. And I think that's where we hear all this pistol stuff. And we're like, hey, what is up with what's up with the pistol? I mean, why are we doing it?
They did say that they were going to try to make him as comfortable as possible, and that's where he ran in college. And you got to understand, sometimes that works for him because he can get the ball out faster when he doesn't have to drop back. When he's already in his stand, when he gets the football and he sees somebody, he can just dart it there. So I mean, it's an advantage to him as well, because of his arm strength.
Right. Well, you also can get the ball out super quick. You made a good point about where you were in backing. You don't have to, you're already back there, so you maybe take another step back. You also never are turning your back to the defense, and you're keeping your eyes down the field. So you don't ever have to take your eyes off. That helps him as well. And then,
talk about that quick release too now. 0.
It's very quick. You want the ball out in 3 seconds in NFL.
Yep.
And it also gives the running back a lot more vision and options of where he wants to go. It helps him out too. So I think there's this mindset, guys. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think there's this mindset that the pistol limits what you can do because you can only run. People almost talk about it like it's a set of plays instead of an actual formation, like under center or the shotgun. And I think it's a better formation for running the football than the shotgun is. And I've talked to people, but I didn't just say, I think this. Because sometimes people, I think that, and I'm like, no, man, I actually talked to some people, did a little research on it, because I'm like, you guys are reacting to it, and I'm like, well, I need to learn as much about the pistols. And I say not y'all, but just fans in general. And I'm like, well, I need to learn as much about the pistols as I can. So I started asking people, and it's not the devil. So, but you guys nailed it with it's very familiar for Penix, and it helps him get the ball out quicker. And just remember, keeps his eyes downfield, and he never. Yeah. That's why the blind side is the whole talk about McGarry on the blind side. And like,
that's why it's working.
It's not. And Ross said it in one of his. He's like, guys, it's kind of a Joe Montana term. Like when he was under center, he drops back. Now his back is to one side, right? My back is back here, and so I'm not seeing what's happening over here. I should still feel it, but when you're in the pistol, you take a step back and you can just kind of 1-2, and now you're looking, and you're always out there, and your whole vision. So just
you're surveying that field, and you're able to see what's coming at you, and it helps the offensive line too, especially Penix's blind side, which a lot of people were worried about coming into it. But the fact that you're running this pistol and you can run so many different plays out of that pistol, I believe it's a good omen for Michael Penix and to help the offensive line. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. We're going to do this with the pistol and help protect each other. So I'm liking what the offense, is rolling out there. I understand that. That's why I haven't been crying and calling for shotgun, because I understand like what the Falcons are trying to do. They're actually helping each other out.
And it also helps him with running the football as well, because like we said, keep your vision ahead. If he needs to take off and run, he can do that as well. Right. And he can see which gap he needs to find. So I mean, it's so much advantage for him.
Rick, another good thing for Michael Penix is too, even though I know he's still working on the accuracy, okay? Like he's still like figuring everything out because we're in a timing offense, as far as like with Sean McVay and everything that comes with him. So we're still getting the timing down. That will come. But my thing is his ball placement is still elite. And if you look at it, he's not throwing footballs that's getting his receivers hurt, banged up, anything like that. He's getting to the point to where he is going to start leading the receiver a little bit more. I've seen a few times where, yes, he did have some passes that were behind. But when I look at it from a different angle, like especially one in particular, it was one with Ray McCloud. He was on a crosser, and he threw it kind of behind Ray. And I feel like I was like, man, if he would have threw it in front of him, it'd have been fine. But looking at it from a different angle, there was a possibility with Drake and the linebacker being there. There's a possibility it could have been a collision if he would have thrown it right, like kind of like throwing Ray open. There's a possibility it could have been a collision. So I'm just thinking about how he's also thinking about his receivers and, his ball placement and just trying to make sure he's keeping his guys upright and healthy.
Well, I think it's I think that's something we can talk about because there's also not every inaccurate ball is on the quarterback. Sometimes they're hurried, but sometimes sometimes you can't. It's okay to blame a receiver every once in a while, and there are times where I think that's the thing. Now, look, I think there's a couple of times where he had Pitts and he just didn't see him, or he saw him and he didn't like it. I'm okay with that a little bit because you're not putting the ball in harm's way. But I'll tell you, we want to talk about accuracy. That throw to Drake London on the fumble, that's as good of a throw as you'll ever see because not only is he on the move, and a lot of people would watch it initially and say, well, it was behind him. Well, it was. But what he did is he put it on his back hip
so they
nobody could get it.
Right.
But if he throws it in front,
it's deflected.
One or two things happen. Drake is killed, or it's intercepted, and Drake still might have been killed on the play because he might have ran through him. So we got it, and obviously, I'm using killed a little bit facetiously, but the point is that you keep your receiver out of harm's way, and that's a big gain. I mean, and you've got the ball, I think, around the 25-yard line. Now, look, Drake that's the first time, if I'm not mistaken, that Drake had fumbled since his rookie year. And if you remember that year, he had 3.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been a problem since. So I still remember the sleeve game, and he fumbled a couple in New Orleans, and then we go to Baltimore, and it's, if not the coldest, it's the second coldest game I've ever done, and it was just ridiculously cold there, and he had the sleeves on, and he fumbles on the open possession, and he's on the sidelines ripping the sleeves off. That's when I knew that was my dude right there. I was like, all right, that's my guy. That was when you knew everything you need to know about Drake. He's like, I won't wear sleeves if this ain't happening. So
yeah, man, leave that to Matthew Judon. But what I'm saying, my thing is, like, I'm excited about Drake as well. I'm still excited about this offense. Bijan Robinson. My thing is, guys, things that we have to do against the Carolina Panthers on offense. I want to get you guys' takes on that, because my thought is you got to keep on running Bijan Robinson and Tyler
that's a given.
Algier. Do not forget about Tyler. I'm glad the Falcons did not forget about Tyler at all. Both guys did their job, and I feel like, those are two guys that you got to start off with. To me, I think taking the ball on the road the way you did like that, and to start off with like the first 4 or 5 plays, you had over 50 yards rushing.
Yeah.
So my thing is, like, I love that moxie to do that and to come out and just go back to your guns, go back to your stable and saying, hey, man, we're going to run the ball. What we did against Tampa was not us, but at the same time, like you said, Squid, Tampa is pretty good on run defense. But still, we want to continue to establish ourselves, and I love that what we did against the Vikings. I think that we can come out and use Bijan in space, use Tyler as well up the middle, different things that we can try, wear these guys down. Never know, we may end up with another victory formation.
Yeah, and I agree to a certain extent, but we had definitely had to run the football. But to see what Kyle Pitts is doing, and to see him not being used further downfield vertically, I think that's diabolical, to be honest, because 11 catches for 96 yards in 2 games. It sounds good, but we know Kyle can do better, man. And as I told y'all, he's a walking mismatch. And they're slowly getting him to the point where he's going to break some plays, and I think could be this game, could be against Washington, but he's going to break a big play soon, because that confidence that he's playing with, we haven't seen since his rookie year. So they have to find a way to unleash Kyle Pitts because Drake London, yeah, he's number 1 receiver, but at the same time, you need that number 2 guy to take over when Drake is being double teamed, or Bijan or Tyler. If you don't like what you're seeing when they're going out for passes, but Kyle Pitts, he's really, to me, the biggest X factor on this team. And it's going to be like that the rest of the year to me. But yeah, they have to unleash Kyle Pitts some kind of way. And I think a team like this, who gives up 141 yards a game on the ground, you got to find a way to get him down the field, because we know Tyler and Bijan are going to get theirs. But when you get those open pass plays, Kyle has got to be one of those guys you get the football to.
Right.
Well, like, I've always I was a big Kyle Pitts fan in college, and I was happy when he came here. But then, after the injury, you can give him a year, but then I've seen him, Kyle has taken himself out of plays before, and with effort. And I think that I have seen just phenomenal effort from him at the beginning of this season, the first 2 games. I think the key to unlocking Kyle Pitts is Kyle Pitts, to be 100% honest with you. And I've seen him starting to unlock himself already, and I'm excited about it. And I think there's more to come. And look, I think once Darnell gets kind of back in a good rhythm, and Drake, and you kind of get in a flow. But the one thing that you can take away from the first 2 games is that this team has you play a very, very good run defense in Tampa, and you say, okay, you're going to take my run away, we'll throw for 300 yards. probably should have won the game. That's a different conversation.
Oh yeah.
You go into US Bank Stadium or whatever it is, and in Minnesota, and they play this too high safety look, and when you see that look, that's basically, we're going to protect our corners. We don't trust them. See if you can run against our front. Okay. We did. And yeah, you'd like to have been better in the passing game. There's no doubt. Nobody's, 13 of 21 is not necessarily what you want. But,
Right.
but you won, and you ran the ball for over 200 and something yards. And that's what you got to do sometimes. And you basically accepted the challenge, and there you go. And Kyle was a big part of that early. And I also saw him blocking downfield. I saw a block from him that it was just made me so happy, because Drake makes that catch, and Kyle really helped get Drake open with the way he ran his route, which was perfect. And as soon as he realizes Drake's got it, he immediately gets upfield and makes a key block and allows him to get that first down, because you were kind of pushed back in that point. So, there's a lot to be seen there. And so I'm excited, but just keep that effort going, and it's gonna happen. I mean, we've seen Kyle Pitts, it's gonna happen. So,
Oh yeah.
Miss
man.
Kiera got a question right quick. She said, "What's the average yards catches per game for tight ends? Usually, lower than a wide receiver. Averages the same. Like, what are the expectations for a tight end over a wide receiver? Basically."
I think that's a tough question, honestly, to answer, because you got a couple of elite tight ends that, Travis
Yeah.
Kelce in his heyday would go for 10 for 100, right? And
Right.
and a couple of touchdowns. Normally their yards per catch is going to be lower, because they're more in that 5 to 15 yard range, and receivers, you're going to get a big chunk play out of most of these guys. So I would tell you, it also depends on the game plan. I mean, last week Kyle had 4 for 37, right? So that's kind of on par with what we're talking about. If he has 8 catches, he's probably got 91 yards or something. That's just that, because he's a little bit more of an explosive tight end. But tight ends are going to have 3 or 4 catches, and normally they've always been kind of viewed more as a safety valve. That was the whole thing about Kyle Pitts being a unicorn, is he was viewed as a tight end that could stretch the field, and that's just not something. I mean, that doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what made Gronk so elite, was he was so big and physical, and he could also use. How many times we see Brady air it out to Gronk, so he could stretch the field too. So that's what made him a little bit different, right, at times. So
yeah.
And Aaron Hernandez, was very similar too.
He was a baller. I mean, I understand his personal life, but on the football field, Aaron.
Oh yeah, he could play, man. He just couldn't get it together mentally.
And just more context to that elite thing, to what Squid was saying about those tight ends. I mean, like for last year, George Kittle, just in the yards, averaged 73.7 yards per game. You got McBride with 71. So
yeah, you got to think about athleticism as well, because some of these tight ends, like wide receiver, you talk about Kyle Pitts, you talk about Brock Bowers. It's just all in the game plan, the athleticism. I mean, all that factors in. But K9 Rottweiler, go ahead.
Look at Drake was used to me. Drake London was used as a tight end last year in a lot of ways. And Mike Johnson, I thought this early. He was used when they needed that 5-yard, little curl route or whatever, first down, just, find that soft spot in the zone and sit there. He got those catches last year. Kyle should be getting those. And I think there's trust between players and all that kind of stuff. That's a whole deep conversation that we don't even really know all of. We'll never know all of it. But Drake was trusted by all the quarterbacks that he's played with, and that's why he's got a lot of those.
Absolutely. K9 Rottweiler, thank you for the donation, my brother. So you think the defense on Monday night was an off, or is this a real deal going forward? I think it's the real deal, man. We talked about it earlier, man. When you get the right coaches and the right game plan in place, you know how to, use what you have properly. Your defense is going to perform, man. And I think going forward, they're only going to get better with time, because the chemistry is going to grow between these guys. So they're going to know how to play off of each other. And you've seen it last week against Carolina. I think they can keep growing this week So I think I think it's the real deal going forward. To be honest, because when the last time you seen us get 6 sacks in one game by more than one player? I know Adrian Claiborne got 6 in one game, but
Right.
that was Dallas, and that was a real bad left tackle. So I mean, yeah, this the real deal, man, because of the coaches. I think.
Right, man. Again, I go back to the same guys that I started with: Nate Ollie, Jeff Ulbrich, Jerry Gray, all experience that you need in the NFL. Well over 30 years of experience between all those guys. Then you have Raheem Morris, who's a defensive coach as well. All those minds coming together, trying to put together this defense with this youth movement that we have. But guys are buying in. That's the most important thing. Guys buying in, veterans, rookies, guys who are coming from bad teams like Devon Diablo coming over here first 2 weeks looking like a showstopper. So it's all about the coaching, like for sure.
One more question: do you think the Falcon red zone offense will improve this week against Carolina?
I would hope so. I think it's just cleaning up some stuff. It's cleaning up,
Mm-hmm.
it's just execution stuff. I I think that a lot of people don't really. And look, I think there's been times we can question some of what Zach Robinson's done. He doesn't seem to like opening games of the season at times with some of his play calling, but one thing he does is got a knack for is kind of adjusting. If you go look at the film
Mm-hmm.
last week, Bijan is. I think Bijan's one of the better blocking running backs in the league, and
Right.
they were hammering Bijan. They were sending guys and it was like they were more trying to take Bijan out of the game than anything. And Zach Robinson, he saw it very early, and the adjustment they made was
Mm-hmm.
instead of having Charlie Warner chip and release out over here in the flat and leaving Bijan in, and then if nothing came, Bijan releasing maybe up the middle or whatever. They had
Mm-hmm.
Warner in the backfield, and Bijan lined up a little bit where Warner would be, right? And
Right.
so therefore they basically switched Charlie Warner and Bijan, and then Bijan released, and it was so early in the game that and again they had him back they still had him in a few times just because you can't becomes overly obvious, but they
Right.
started leaking him out in the flat, and he was making catches out there. One of which, if he catches it, you get a first down in the red
Get a
area,
first down.
and you might score, and then Bijan just dropped it. But that is the proof that look, Zach is making adjustments, and
Yeah.
it's not just this. It's not a Billy Napier offense, guys. Like down in Florida where it's considered a high school offense. But look, that being said, they've got to execute in red zone, and they've got to clean up the
Yes.
mistakes. They've got to clean up whether it's a penalty, or it's not being on the same page, or it's not seeing something. They've got to clean all that up, and I tend to believe that might be something that actually kind of comes to fruition. Hopefully,
Right.
True,
Uh,
true, true.
that's one thing I'm thinking about too. Like in practice, I'm expecting them to work on that red zone offense because Michael Penix is going to get you down there. It's just all about executing and finishing. We were talking about that. That was like the theme of at the end of week one, finishing. And week two we finished. But we still was partially incomplete because of the red zone offense and not like we were saying, penalties, just not being able to execute. This is the time to where I feel like we need to definitely be able to execute against a Panthers team who is going to be tough regardless. Divisional matchups always are, no matter how we feel about the team. But we got to score in the red zone. We have the pieces. I mean, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney is back, even though I know he is still working his way back into the offense. Ray McLeod and Bijan and Tyler. Just depending on where you are on the field, we have to punch it in because our red zone offense is like at the bottom of the league, even though the red zone defense is more closer to the top. We have to finish it with 7, man, instead of 3. Because you think about it with the way the season is going and the way it could end up, you don't want to have games to where you're just kicking field goals, and it may be a time to where your offense has to pick it up because the other offense is doing this job too. So I just want to get
Absolutely.
that. I just want to get that taken care of early, guys. Like that red zone thing has been like a hindrance, really, before Jeff Obert got here before Zach
Oh,
Robinson
it's been
got
that
here.
way for years, man.
Yeah.
Years.
So
But yeah, you got to fix that red zone thing. But let's get to our favorite part of the show, man. X factors. We gonna start with
ooh,
you, Squid Billy. Who's your X factor for this game?
Uh, you know what? Um, Chris Lindstrom. Chris
I
Lindstrom.
like it.
I need Lindstrom, and look, and Ryan News was going to play into that, so you can kind of use the interior of the line depending on how they want to line up. But Derek Brown is the guy that gives us trouble. He gives Lindstrom trouble. He's one of the toughest matchups, and I think it. I didn't think the interior of the offensive line played very well in Week 1, including Lindstrom,
Right.
and I think it's very. I don't need. I just think I need him to kind of have that Chris Lindstrom game where we don't even think about him because he's doing everything he needs to do. He's definitely an X factor for me. You can go you can go all kinds of places with X factors, but I mean offensively, he's definitely one for me. And defensively, it's I lean towards James Pierce because I think he can help generate pressure, and if these guys in the interior can keep their gap integrity, that's big. But I would also have to go with Devon Diablo because Chuba
On it.
Hubbard, if you want to leak him out of the backfield, that's a situation. Um, Tommy Tremble and Jatavion Sanders, those are guys too that we gotta be careful that I don't want the tight ends to go ahead and start finding a rhythm against us. So those all those guys to me have got to kind of do what they've been doing, and Lindstrom
Right.
maybe handle it, and those are kind of unknown to me. Those are X factors that you're not going to think about because they're important to the success of this team.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go front seven, and the reason why I say front seven is
Right.
because of what they did last week in Minnesota. They brought the pressure, they forced turnovers, and against Bryce Young, you got to do that. You saw Jacksonville do that week 1. Arizona kind of did it last week, but they fell apart in the second half, and he ended up with 328 yards and 3 touchdowns. So you can't allow that Bryce Young to come out Sunday. You got to keep him inside the pocket. You got to keep him, force him to throw the football because if he gets mobile and throwing a run, I think that opens up Chuba Hubbard, and that's going to be a problem. So I would say the front seven, man, is the way they're the pass rush period is going to have to be the X factor in this game.
Okay. Who you got on offense?
Uh, I'm gonna stick to Kyle Pitts, man. I just think it's just time. Um, if they run the ball effectively like they did last week in Minnesota, and he, like Squid said, if he is determined enough to open himself to becoming a better player and taking over, I think he could end up with a 100-yard game this game. But it's up to Kyle Pitts, like Squid said. So I got to go Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, man. I love both. Actually, I love both of you guys' picks and everything. So I'm gonna go slightly different on offense. Well, actually, on defense, I'm gonna start with defense. Defense, I'm gonna go with the Fusion Twins. I'm gonna go with Ruka Roro and Brandon Dorless. You guys have been honestly stepping up to me. It's little by little. This game is time to tell everybody in the NFL, hello, how you doing? I want you guys to be pressuring up the middle. I want you guys to, show exactly what you guys were showing in college, especially Dorless being one of those guys who were lined up all up and down Oregon's defensive line using different
Facts.
ways. But I want this man to get after the quarterback. Is Ruka Roro getting after the quarterback as well? I know David Onyemanyata is going to be there too, helping these guys along. I expect that. But my rookies, I want those two guys to continue to step up on that defensive line to help, to stop that run game and make those guys one-dimensional. So maybe you got the rest of the pass rushers can be able to pin their ears back a little bit and get after that quarterback.
Agreed.
On the other side of the ball, I'm going to go honestly with my entire coaching staff. And one reason why I'm going with that is because even it's only 2 games, but the Falcons right now are second in the league in time of possession on both sides of the ball. That means the defense is getting off the field, and that means the offense is staying on the field, being able to sustain drives for the most part. I would like to see more of that. I would like to see more time of possession by the Atlanta Falcons being able to wear down the Carolina Panthers, impose your will against these Panthers. And, go ahead and pick up this W. Let's get a division win. We already have a conference win against the Vikings. Let's go ahead and start building our way back up, because right after that, we have another tough matchup and another young quarterback that's coming at us who, and a former old coach who's coming to
I knew that was coming.
Right.
I knew that was coming.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good one. That's my boy, DQ.
Yeah, I mean, I wish you had the personnel we have now. I mean, things would made it turn out different. But hey, it's a new time. It's a new coach. It's a new staff. Hey, it's positive, man. But score prediction, y'all fall in the chat alone, man. Give me a score prediction for this game. Squid, what's your score for this game?
Oh man, these are rough for me because I do the games and I don't ever want to jinx them. Look, I think you got to remember these are division games, and we want to get. We want to absolutely just stomp all over them, but I never think that they're easy. I think the line is like 5.5, which means that they think you're basically an 8.5 point favorite. Yeah. But I would probably go something like 24-10, 27-13, somewhere in there. I'll go 27-13 because I think that this is a game that you should go in there and win. I think it is. I don't think it'll be easy though, and I think it's a 3.5 quarter game, and that you kind of pull away late. I do. Yeah, now, if you get a chance to jump on them like you did last week, you got to go ahead and put them away. And this is a team you don't want to. No team, Minnesota is one too. You never want to leave them, let them hang in there, but you definitely want to put these guys away because these division games are different, man. They just are. It's the closest thing. Division games in NFL are like playing a college rival. They're just all different.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Smitty, what you got?
Honestly, man, I think this is going to be a blowout, man. And the reason why I said the way they run the football, I think they're going to control the clock like they did last week. And the less Bryce Young is on the field, the less chance they have to score. So if Bijan and Tyler running the ball and the Falcons offense running the ball like they did last week, I'm with Squid, man. I'm in that 28-13 range somewhere in there. Now they will score, and the Falcons bend but don't break, and you see how stiff they get in the red zone. So I'm going 28-13.
Okay, 28-13. I like it, man. I'm going to actually go. All right. I'll go 29-16 Falcons. Really, I want to say 30 to. No, I'm gonna go ahead and say 30-16 Falcons. 30-16 Falcons.
I was gonna say, man, going to give them a couple of points.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get our first 30-point game, and go ahead and raise that point total up a little bit, and keep that average around where we're at right now. Because right now we're second in the league as far as points, opposing points right now. We're second in the league, I believe, behind the Broncos. And
the Broncos have an elite defense, so I mean, we moving on up, man. We moving on up slowly but surely. But shout outs, man. Anybody want to give a shout out before we head on up?
Hey, man, I'm gonna give a shout out to everybody in the chat. A shout out to Squid. Thank you for always being able to make yourself available. Tell the family we appreciate them sharing you with us. So
absolutely,
definitely appreciate that. Smitty, you already know my dog, so we always doing this thing, the pop-up boys, pop-up messiahs, but sometimes we like to schedule things like this too. So, man, shout out to each and every last one of you guys, everybody who, wherever you're watching this from, on my platform, on Smitty's platform, on Twitter and everything. Just shout out to each and every last one of y'all. Let's go be the bullies. Let's go ahead and go 2-1 coming back home against these Carolina Panthers. They've been talking noise too. They've been talking a lot in the offseason too.
Oh, yeah.
They always talk. They're fair weather. They always talk till you shut them up.
It's not even we don't even consider y'all as a beef. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, they talking till they get them $2 tickets again. The $2 tickets ain't no joke. But yeah, man, I want to give a shout out to the chat as well, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for the donation, man. We truly appreciate it. But I want to give a shout out to 92.9 the game as a whole, because they've been supporting Smitty Sports Machine since I started. Special shout out to John Freaky, man. John Freaky has been my right-hand man since I started, man. call into the show in the morning when him and Hugh was doing their morning thing. He would take my calls. He would give me a shout out, spree my show out there on the airways, and I definitely appreciate that. Got to give a shout out to Dylan Matthews, your homeboy.
Yeah.
Big supporter of the show as well. Yeah, that's my guy, man. Him and Simone, football couple. I love it. So yeah, man. Shout out to 929 the game. You as well, Mike Johnson, who came on about a month ago. Shout out to him as well. So shout out to 929 the game as a whole, man, for supporting the sports machine, man. I truly appreciate it.
No, that's cool. Yeah, those are all my people. Yeah, man. I'll give one real quick too. We're getting out of here, but obviously you two guys, because y'all have always been supportive of me, and I love you guys to death. And I tell all you, it seems like I'm actually I'm seeing a lot of the comments, and you guys a lot of love, and I appreciate all that. And shout out to all of them as well, because they're all a family. We're all a big family. We might argue and debate and everything else, which I love to do, but we're all a big family. We're all in this together, and Atlanta sports fans are on a mission, and the mission to me is to prove that this whole narrative that's been spewed out there about us and that spun or however verbiage you want to put it. That ain't true. We love our sports and our teams as much as anybody, and let's continue to prove that. And hopefully, they give us something to really go with and cheer for this year, and see you in January. I want January football, boys. So I want.
Too.
So I want.
Hey,
I'm telling you,
man, I want February football. I'm gonna take it a little bit further. I want February football.
That's beautiful.
I want
football right there now.
But before we head out, Squid, tell everybody where to find you. My homegirl Kiera, she want to know where to find you at, and listen to you in the morning, hopefully.
Yeah, 6 to 9 a.m. on 92.9 The Game here in Atlanta, or the Odyssey app. You can find me every morning, me, Mike Johnson, and Allie Mack with the aforementioned Dylan Matthews. You can also catch me on Atlanta Falcons Radio Network, the pregame show, 2 hours for every game for kickoff. Find me and Mike Johnson doing that, and then you can hear me probably sometimes screaming in the background during the play-by-play as I produce those guys as well, no matter where they're at.
You used to scream at Abe, boy. I used to die laughing,
bro.
Boy, funny,
hilarious.
Oh man,
hilarious
that was funny. Great stuff. But
I appreciate you guys having me.
No doubt, Squid, man. We appreciate you as always, my guy.
We'll be in touch, of course. Have to get up with you, man, or put some W sauce on something, man. Something.
Let's do it. I'll be around, and we can always do this during the season anytime. So
no doubt. We'll definitely have you back on soon, man. Definitely.
Sounds good, guys. I appreciate y'all. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Squid.
All right, take it easy now. Yes, sir.
Our boy Squid Billy stopping through, man, showing us some love like he always do. Like I said, man, shout out to 929 the game, man, because man, they have been a big supporter of the sports machine, man, for a very long time. And like I said, man, John Fricky is, he's been very supportive, man. And I'm telling y'all, supportive people always come outside of the people that's around you every day. That's all I got to say. And that's the honest truth, man. If you don't believe it, I'm a true witness of it. Outside people are the one that support you more than the people around you every day. Trust me when I tell you that. And that's the God honest truth. But again, man, we're gonna have a good show, man. And next week, but no, Chris, go ahead and tell everybody where to find you. My bad. I'm jumping the gun.
Oh shoot, man. I already know what you're about to say, but yeah. A1 Forever Sports, that's the platform on YouTube. Please come over, like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure y'all be generational, because there's always time to be. And also make sure y'all find y'all peace. Positive energy always creates elevation. Don't y'all settle for less, because you always can have more with the vision. Catch me on Twitter, A1 Forever, Instagram, A1 Forever, the real A1 Forever on TikTok. And also for my Hawks fans, season's almost here. We're getting closer. No more Kobe Buffkin, too, for those who even know that. But hey, I'm just saying, at the end of the day, all I'm saying is excited to be an Atlanta Hawks fan as well. So get ready for the season. Catch me on the Hawks Digest, me and Walter Pollard over there, having all the Hawks coverage as well. So catch me there. Hey, man, I'm just ready to get to it for Sunday. I'm ready to shut these Panther fans up, because y'all been talking, and I've been keeping receipts, and I've been waiting, and I've been watching.
I got to give a shout out to you, man, and I didn't bring this up. Shout out to Michael Turner, man. Michael Turner, former Falcon running back, man. He watched the show the other night, and he retweeted it. and it got us more views. And shout out to him, man. Thank him for doing that, man. He didn't have to do that. And I would tell y'all, I'm trying to work on getting him and Ovi back on the show. So Ovi and Michael Turner, and y'all can catch them on Believe, the Believe Network, and they do their thing, man. So we working behind the scenes, man, to bring y'all some more great interviews. And speaking of great interviews,
almost forgot, Smitty.
Go ahead.
And if anybody happens to bump into Mike Bell and Carl Dukes, tell them A1 and Smitty looking for them. You know what I'm saying? Have a football conversation. Come on over and have a football conversation. Let's talk about our Falcons, Braves, Hawks, whatever you guys want to talk about. But I think that would be an awesome show. You know, I'm saying A1 and Smitty,
no doubt.
Mike Bell and Carl Dukes. That'll be something else right there.
Be like a pickup game over in the Rucker League. But yeah, man. Shout out to 929 game, man. Big supporters of the show. But as I was saying, man, next week, very special guests coming on. Big supporter of mine as well. Well, two of them actually. Washington freelance reporter Kelsey Nicole Nelson is going to join us, and former Washington Redskin and Minnesota Vikings cornerback Fred Smoot is going to come through next week, talk some football, talk Washington Commanders / Redskins or however y'all want to say it. So they'll be here with us next Tuesday to run up the scores and run up the numbers. So I appreciate them as always, man. Both of those guys have been big supporters since day one. Actually, both of them was helping me with interviews when I was on Blog Talk Radio, and that was a long time ago. So they've been rocking with me for a very long time. So I always appreciate them coming through and supporting me and helping me grow, man, because without journalists and athletes like them, guys like me would not have a voice. So I definitely appreciate them for always supporting me, man. But y'all know where to find me, man. Smitty Sports Machine on YouTube and Fatboy Slim _21 on Twitter, because I'm always blowing that thing up. And shout out to Auntie Joy, man. Auntie Joy is always behind the scenes working with us and working for us, and we appreciate her, man, because she's one of those Falcon ladies that always supporting the team, supporting the brand, and she's always, putting her hand on stuff and making magic happen. So shout out to her as well, man. But, go ahead, my bad.
No, I said that Midas touch.
Oh, facts. And telling y'all come in with that foolishness. She the moderator in the chat, and she will block you. Trust me, I know from experience. But for my boy Chris, this your boy Antoine Smith, man. We're gonna keep dropping videos, whether it's Falcons, whether it's Hawks, whether it's Braves. We're gonna keep bringing y'all news, because that's what we do, man. Right. But until Sunday, on the live stream, after the Falcons beat the Carolina Panthers, I'm gonna speak it to existence. After the Falcons beat the Panthers, we're gonna be on right after the game, and we're gonna give y'all our thoughts on the Falcons Panthers. Come through, blow off your steam, or if you just want to come through, give a positive word, please do that, and we would definitely appreciate it, man. And we're gonna until then, we're gonna holler at y'all, man, because we got to roll. I got to eat and take my old ass to bed, and I'll holler at y'all soon. Peace.